Sorry. Hello, slow parenting family from across the globe. Sorry, some technical issues there. I was told my face was too low, so we're just trying to fix it. Welcome to another episode of the Slow Parenting program on Nostalgia Media. My name is still Richie Adewusi, your regular host. It's another interesting episode, and today I'm going to delve in. Uh, Whichever one is more applicable in this situation and our into our parenting duties. This time, we're going to be talking about preachers and practices. You know the saying, practice what you preach, or rather, preaching practice. It's all about mirroring and modeling, okay? We can't say it enough on this program. You've read it probably in many places. You've heard people talk about it uh, at different fora. We can't talk too much. We can't say it too much. We can't say it too often. We can't stop saying it. That's what I'm saying, that it's important that we do things we expect our children to do. It then goes without saying that we should not do things that we don't want or expect our children to do. Two sides of the same coin. We should do things, not, I wanted to say stuff, but stuff, yes. We should do things, stuff that we would be happy to see our children doing. At the same time, we should quit doing things and stuff we do not want to see our children do. In other words, want or expect our children to do. Class is always in session in your home, so long as the children have arrived. So long as you have children, either your biological children or children by trust, that children who are put in your care, they are not so interested in the instructions you give verbally. They hear you. They cold would do obey your instructions. Yeah, that's part of growing up. That's part of, well, being respectful. Okay, we are told, we are taught, or we're taught. But at the same time, there's another aspect of that parent-child relationship that happens consciously and unconsciously when your children are around you, which should worry or excite you, depending on what you exhibit when you are with them. Okay? Why? We've said it severally. Your children want to be you first. Never mind, as they grow up, they'll tell you, you are old school, you don't know. But right now, they're still, you are the picture, you are the image, you are the king, you are the superstar, the super mom, super dad, you're the superhuman being they're looking at, they look up to, they believe, they trust. It's up to you which way those concepts go in your relationship with them, and by extension, their relationship with other people. You are their superstar, you are their superhero. Keep it that way. And when I say hero, I mean for mom and dad. No, so let's not go into marketing English here, hero, heroine, hero, hero. I mean, that person, that main, well, that superstar that is like, wow, their go-to person they look up is you. You need to work at keeping it to remain you. It doesn't take too much of an effort. Just take consciousness about what you say, what you do when they are around you and when they are not around you. Because see, when we say when they are around you, it's okay, hello, are the children there? Are they around? You never know where they are. So it's not even it's not a practice of okay, I can say anything I want to say now, the children are not here. We help ourselves by letting our conversations be seasoned with salt, as the Bible would say, for Christians, meaning letting our conversation be pleasant, be courteous, be civilized, if you like, at any time. Whether you have children or don't have children, you're married, you're not married, you're in a relationship, you're not in a relationship, chances are, by the time you now get into relations, you get into marriage, get to have children, you're already used to talking nicely. You're already used to talking, well, civilized. It's not about what any religious organizations say. It's not about what people are dictated or dictating to you. It should be a choice thing that you want to. But then, well, humans still. So if at any time you fall out of line, accept that you've fallen out of line and redress, apologize. If when your children, when your partner, whoever, your colleagues, apologize. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Why? The children are looking up to you, like had been established. They are copying you. It's your style that they want to be their style first before they begin to now settle down, make up their mind about who. We have some contributions here from committee members already. And how can I be a better role model for my child without being too hard on myself or feeling like I have to be perfect? Mm. Well, perfection is a destination that uh, historically there's only one entity that has been acclaimed to have attained that or reached that destination. I don't want to go into any uh, controversial or political statements or issues here, but then in life, perfection is a goal in everything we do. But whilst well, if anybody says I'm perfect, oh, please send me a mail, raise your hand, say you're perfect in whatever areas of life, but it's an ideal, okay? Do your bit, be civil. Hmm? Again, to really help this community member, if you have such high bars for yourself that you struggle to meet up with in any areas of your life, for instance, it's possible that as in maybe disappointed, maybe in yourself, that you are not able to do so and so. I also don't want to be specific. I can be, but that probably would take us into so many other things. You had some dreams. You had some lists of, oh, I'm going to be this by this time. I want to have attained this by this time. If you are not able to do those things for so many reasons, any reason at all, in economics, they say all things being equal, all things never get to be equal. Okay? And then you now begin to have children. The chances are that you want your children to be those things you are not able to do. That's a tough ask on the children because As beautiful, as desirable as those your dreams were, what were the reasons why you didn't attend them? Okay. You might also have perfected all the pitfalls that prevented you from attaining those goals or aspirations as you are growing up. And now you feel that you have all of those things that you lacked in place that your children now should be able to, because they have them in place, now do those things that you were not able to do. Most of us parents are guilty of that. But you you needn't go to those lengths, because first, have you sought to find out what your children would like to do, what they would like to be, or what they would not like to be, so that you don't build pockets of conflict even before they get started? Like I said, most of us are guilty. Parents are guilty of that. So, you know, this contribution, this question is, how do I get to be a better role model for my child without being too hard on myself or feeling like I have to be perfect? Set realistic goals for yourself and for your children. Realistic in the sense that you know your circumstances, you know your situations, you know your environment. Okay? You know your abilities. You must know your weaknesses and your strengths. By extension, as you have your children, know them. We say them. We continue to say that. Know your children as well. Study them in your interactions with them. You will know their strengths, well, maybe weaknesses. So you do not go challenging individuals to do things that, in the first place, maybe they don't even like doing. I have shared on this program, I don't ever like the feel of oil in my fingers. It made me to start using cutlery to eat meals from a much younger age. And well, as time went by, people thought it was because of some sophistication thing or some. No, it was just a personal preference. I didn't like the feel of oil in my fingers. For those who would have joined us on any of those episodes, it was always an issue between my grandmother and I before she passed on, and this was a long time ago. Okay? And then, how are you going to be able to taste the goodness in that meal you're eating without letting your finger touch it? I didn't, Grandma didn't understand how anybody would not like the feel of oil in his hands. But that was the same thing. I have a book titled Seven and a Half Temptations Parents Face. And one of the temptations was about 110%, you want your children to excel. I mean, and even excel beyond excellence. It's a problem. First, you might be judging them, unfairly beyond their capacities. Okay? I told a story in that, my father wanted me to do pursue certain professions uh, that I was not interested in. And I couldn't tell him so openly. He was genuinely interested in my uh, affairs, my well-being, and was like, oh, you could be good at this. But I was doing well in the subjects I picked in secondary school, in high school. But when it came to writing the final exam, the external exam in Nigeria is called WAEC, West African Examination Council, West African School Certificate examination. I was in a dilemma. I could pass, and then I wouldn't be able to defend why I would not now go to do the program he wanted me to do. And I did something that I wrote in that book. That book is about 25, 20 years old. 25, more than 25 years ago. Yes, to do the programs, to go for the profession in Nigeria, there are certain things, there are certain programs you can't go to college to do unless you have you have a credit in mathematics. Okay. So I opted to fail mathematics. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm not telling you to go try this. You know, programs will tell people, please don't try this at home. Please don't try this with your parents, please. Okay. But I'm just telling you what happened with me. Okay. I opted to fail mathematics. How did I fail mathematics? Because again, I couldn't also tell him why I was absent when they were writing mathematics for it to be that I didn't attempt, I didn't go for the examination at all. So I only went and sat for the objective questions or the objective parts, you know, just to answer present. And of course, mathematics became a blip in otherwise flawless results, you know, filled with A's. He didn't know why. Okay. But I went on to do what I wanted to do. I always wanted to write. I just wanted to be a writer. Well, it was much later. I was like, okay, maybe I should have done. It doesn't stop me from writing. But my thing was, I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to study literature and be a writer. And that's what I'm still doing today. Every which way, stories are stories. When I'm here on the Slow Parenting program, the stories we're telling, we're writing, babbling. Okay? So don't set too high expectations for yourself without taking into consideration your abilities and your resources. Same thing for your children. That way, okay, you would be modeling achievable goals. Okay. There's another contribution. It says, how do I create a home environment where my kids can learn good values even when they see me struggle? Tell them the truth about your struggle. Don't lie to them about anything. Don't give your children the impression that everything is okay. At the same time, there are some details you don't have to feed them. You want them to feel good. You are there for them. Yes, things are hard for this reason, but don't worry, we would get them sorted. That's putting hope. That's putting, you are infusing hope. You're infusing solution, but you are not ignoring the challenges. Neither are you living fake. Don't live fake with your children. Don't be fake with your children. Let them know what you have and what you don't have. That way, they will not want to be like the Joneses. The same way, don't feel envious, jealous, or whatever about what anybody else has. You also be mirroring that they should be satisfied, content with what they have. This is who we are. This is what we have here. But it does not stop attainment of better conditions, better heights, better successes. Mirror those. Yes, this is who we are today. This is what our situation is today, financially, locationally. But then we are on our way to this. We are doing X. You are in school. You will graduate. Things will be better. Right now, I'm maybe working on a new project. It will work out. Things will be better. Share your challenges. Give hope. Don't lie. Don't fake it. Don't go to borrow things to give your children the wrong impression about things being okay. Don't tie yourself to other individuals who would use it to hurt your psyche, your feelings. And then it would ultimately affect your children. Okay. So, what do I do when my children start modeling bad behavior from third parties like school friends or social media? What have you modeled for them or to them that they have witnessed concerning that particular issue at home? Okay. The important thing is what you model. Let's take swearing word, the use of swear words. If you don't use swear words at home and they go to school or go to the community center to play, and their friends start using swear words, they will be the ones to correct their friends, or they will leave the environment. Now, coming back to you, when your children come back to tell you their friends still use swear words, now, okay, so long as you don't, that's not what happens at home, maybe it's time to limit their exposure to such friends. And you tell them so, let them know that. Well, did you tell your friend how that particular behavior makes you feel? Or, oh, yes, I told her she keeps doing it, or I told her she keeps doing it. Then maybe you need to, maybe that person is not your friend, really. Not that it's your enemy, but then maybe you want to limit your exposure or your association with that person because it's going to create some bad influence. You've already seen it's you. Your attention, your concern is your child. Your attention, your concern are for your children. So you go ahead and let them know where to draw. We talk about boundaries. It's not just boundaries at home. Boundaries in friendship, boundaries with classmates, boundaries even between themselves and their teachers in so many other areas. But then let us digress. We are talking about you at home. Okay? It's what you do at home that sets them apart or get them to become part of the crowd. Okay? It's what you do. My mom don't do that. No, I can't do that. My mom doesn't do that. I shared a story in another book, now book on parenting. It's called The Talk Therapy. It's a book on substance use and abuse issues. I narrated an incident that happened when we were in high school. I was doing a level. And it was a victory party after the inter-house sports for that particular year. And usually, there will be music, the DJ at the party, there'll be, just merriment. And while dancing on the dance floor, and suddenly the DJ went from fast flow music to slow jam. And um, female friends held on to their male friends held on to their. There was this particular student was my classmate. Like I said, we were the senior students in the school because we were there for A levels. And this person was my classmate. She was the daughter of a federal minister at that time. And if her friends were dancing, held her and said, leave me. At the top of her voice, you could hear her protest, even with the music. Leave me. My mom said I should not dance blues. Everybody froze. I looked at her direction. She didn't feel embarrassed. Okay. This wasn't a grade one student, not from two, not from three. Not, this was an A-level student. Okay. But could posit what she had learned from her mother. It's a little embarrassing, yes, a little, if you like, crude, if you like, but the important thing is she remembered it and she could express it. So crude or not, she didn't care. And that was the reason I used it in that book. That's why I narrated it. So it's up to you to mirror the behavior and lifestyle that, again, we go back to your culture, your tradition, your family value, including your economic status. Family values, economic status, and all of that come into it, and the etiquettes to your children. So if they get into environment where things that don't tally with those things that you guys have all agreed at home, you're practicing, you're mirroring, they're saying, they're following, the chances are they will come to tell you when they get home. And then you have that conversation and now have an agreement about what to do about it. Stay away, or have you advised your friend? No, I didn't. I just moved away. Why don't you tell? Maybe he doesn't know it's not okay. Okay, but did you tell him or her it's not okay? Yes, I did. But he kept, well, maybe it's time you try to stay away a little bit, okay? Or if it's something that is safety related, the advice is that you bring this to the attention of the school authorities and, okay, and all of that. You give appropriate, uh, you know, um, advice or counsel concerning it. That it's your child that you are concerned about. There's another contribution here. Said, do you think there's a difference in modeling behavior for younger children versus teenagers? There has to be. There's a leveler at the beginning. Your family values are your family values. Okay, your tradition is your tradition. Your culture is your culture. Your etiquette are your etiquette. But then application is an entirely different thing when it comes to certain age. Now, by the way, I don't believe in this whole narrative about Gen T or Gen H or Gen. No, they are just socially constructed licenses presented by society to give people certificates for misbehavior. No. Okay? That you are born within that gen, whoever is going to have children. Those children are going to have children. So that person that you say you call Gen Z or whatever gen is will never grow up, will remain with, no. We are giving people excuses for misbehavior. That's the way I see it. Quote me. Okay? That's the way I see it. So if this question here is, do you think there's a difference? Yes. In this home, okay, bedtime is so time. But you do not want, you are not going to say bedtime for your 9-year-old is bedtime for your 15-year-old. You are creating a problem because that 15-year-old will just be waiting for 3 more years to come and tell you, now I'm 18, I'm not a baby anymore. And there will be conflict, there will be problems. So when we talk about adolescents and all that, you as parents need to program yourselves to also know that there are things happening to young people as they approach those preteen and teenage years. A lot of them, they are not in control of. They don't even know what's happening, especially if you are not helpful to have prepared them about things, changes that would happen, that will happen, not would, will happen to their bodies, and how to begin to prepare and cope with them. So if you fall within the category of parents that not prepare your children for adolescence, the issues that they begin to experience are sudden for some of them. No help. You say, oh, they are moody, they are withdrawn. They don't know, they can't talk to you. You didn't create that. But if you had created a communication relationship between yourself and your children, that you put issues into that relationship and you discuss those issues as they arise or even before certain things arise, and continue with search, you also then know that there now need to be differences as the children grow older. If you have multiple, you know that the younger ones, first of all, if you have the resources, your children's room change. Okay? If you have the resources, the male rooms, the female rooms change. For reasons that you would also engage, they're still brothers and sisters, yes, but then those become talking points for explaining relationships outside. Okay, so when you say now the behavior, the way you would talk to your 9-year-old cannot be the way you would talk to your 14-year-old, even your 13, even your 12-year-old, really. Especially today. I don't want to go into the gen, whatever. No, it's about the age. It's adolescence. Adolescence is adolescence 100 years ago, 1 million years ago. There are societal challenges that have um, increased I mean, whatever those challenges had been, but it doesn't now mean that a particular generation is there to with a license for misbehavior. No, I don't agree with that. Okay. If you disagree with me, just send me a message. You know, share your view, share your stand on that with me. Okay. I don't believe in the gen tagging that this is why this group of people are behaving this way. There are influences, there are external influences. Every generation of human race had external influences that impacted on their behavior. It didn't those things didn't become licenses for them not to buy into societal norms that had been there from time, which is like what we are giving license to a particular generation to where they are behaving this way is because they are behaving. So everybody lives. And we even have books. We have, it was the whole thing that led into the gender wars that we have now. We know where the gender wars had led the world. Everybody's talking about LGBT stuff and all of that today. Something created those scenarios, those situations. Now we are going off on this tangent of Gen Z. Okay, what are you going to call the next one? You find some fancy thing to call them, and they begin to behave to answer to that you're tagging. Not nice things are going to happen out of this. How do I encourage my child to speak up when he sees me doing something wrong? I have scolded him for doing so, but for apologize, start with apologizing. Okay, start with apology. Okay, I know I reacted uh, well in this way when you said something like this or that time. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm here again. Communication, conversations don't just happen. Did you start early? Have you been talking with your children? It doesn't just happen. It shouldn't just be when you have something to say. Say, hey, everybody come around, sit down. No. Okay. If you have made it possible for your children to communicate with you when things are good, when things are not so good, when there are emergencies, when there are celebrations, they would always come to you. And they'll be able to tell you when things are not happening too good from your behavior. Then, second, you can always ask. In one of my other books on parenting, the talk therapy, I shared an experience with my daughter. She herself is a mother today of two very wonderful daughters. And the experience, of course, was this whole issue of speaking up or not speaking up. Or the issue was speaking up or not speaking up. My children, I get to hear them chatty, with their uncles, their aunts, even the housekeeper, even, well, workmen that come in to do one thing or the other. They chat up. But once I get into the environment where they are, everything died or died that time. Okay, nobody will talk again. So one day I called my daughter. I said, baby, come, what's going on? How come, even as I'm driving into the compound, I could hear you guys, all everybody's talking. Once the car engine dies, I step out of the car, maybe entered, everywhere dies. She looked at me with rapt attention, as if are you sure you really want to hear what I'm going to say? Like, he said, yeah, you always shouting. Wow. Really? Sorry. Is that all? And you're always angry. Wow. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to do something about the shout. Is that why you guys will not play with me, talk with me, even when I'm sitting in the sitting? You people watch TV or whatever in the living room. Once I come out there, everybody disappear into their rooms. It wasn't a good thing. You could say, oh, thank God, this place is quiet and I can have my peace. No, you're having no peace. You're building a time bomb. Okay. So I noticed that. And like I said, this individual now is a mother. I have our own children now. It's about mirror. And I told her, this was what your issue is. This is why you're not fine. I'm going to, and I tried. I did try. Now, around, that's one side of that coin between myself and herself. So I would share the other part of that coin with you when we return. We're going to take a short break now so that you can see a short video about why you should, do things, if you like, the right way. What you say are the right ways, what you think are the right way for things to be done, why you should follow those ways. Watch the video. We'll come back. Okay. Stay with us.
Do you have any recommendation trying to raise conscious kids that are not addicted to technologies?
They don't care what you say. They're not going to listen. You have to model exactly what you want to see. If you don't want your kids to be screwing around on their phones at dinner, you put your phone away and you're not looking at it and you're having a conversation with them at dinner. And it won't work right away, but that model really works. If you want your kids to practice the faith, you must practice the faith. If you don't want your kids to drink, you shouldn't drink. If you don't want your kids to be abusive, yelling taunts out the car window in traffic, you better never do that. You better live thinking, I'm going to live as if I were the man I want my son to be. That's how you live.
Welcome back. Like always, our videos are not always, they're not long. Now, I made a promise. I said, I shared on the other side before you watch that video. You could hear from the video that they're watching you. They don't, your instructions, they'll probably carry your instructions out. There's a term we used to use in one of our programs I was part of. We used to say your compliance was malicious. I said malicious compliance. Your children could comply with your instructions maliciously, meaning there's intent to damage, okay, not cooperate, but they have complied. Okay, all the same. There's compliance, but then it's not compliance you want. You want cooperation. You want mutuality in your relationship with your children. Not compliance is something that has some other things that bring them to pass. You must comply. No, well, you want mutuality. You want them to respond to you the way you respond to them, the way you want them to respond to you, the way you to respond to them. You want it to be mutual, okay? Now, that is what you probably will pick from that video. Don't tell them things, do as I say. They'll probably do that. For how long? Once they attain certain ages, they begin to revolt, begin to rebel. Some of them, the age of rebellion and revolt has decreased, okay? But a child that gets to do things from what that child sees you do positively would also be able to tell him, but this is not how you do this, okay? Some years ago, when I was volunteering in an organization that provided administrative support for new immigrants into Canada here. A mother with her 3 sons were responding to an officer, that was the immigration officer, that was attending to them to fill out their form. And the mother went on and on about how the husband was maltreating her, beat her up. And one of the sons said in Yoruba, Okay. But mommy, daddy, okay, no, now. Of course, the immigration officer that was helping them didn't understand what the boy said. The mother turned around and looked at her and said, oh, there's no phone. Why don't you tell her that I'm lying? I felt very sad. I wasn't directly involved in what they were doing, but when they are done, I went to her and told her that it's you the child might have looked out of place with you, but then he was correcting you because even the immigration people would eventually also find out that maybe what you are saying might not have been the truth because they can interview your children to find out, and they would, in most cases, they would, to find out if they were. And if a child is already saying, ah, but mommy, daddy does not beat you, my mommy, daddy never beat you. That's what the translation in English. And the mother said, okay, why don't you go and tell them that I'm lying? What are we saying here? Mirroring what, you know, you would, how you want your children to behave. And then there was a question of how could my child tell me I'm wrong? That person, because again, they must have had, two-way communication relationship in that family, that mother and that child, for even the child to be able to tell the mother right there that, well, mom, no, that didn't used to beat you, that didn't never beat you. But they still said it in their local language, in their language, not local, their language, Nigerian language, the Yoruba language. And the mother understood the other. But I had them, and I helped that family for a while. I really don't know where they are now. But then, you know, such things can't hide. If you are doing things that your children are not used to seeing you do, or things that are not true about what they know to be true, some children would, tell you. And some would keep quiet if you do not invite them to resolve the matter. Like the issue of my daughter, I promised I was going to say the second part of this mirroring, and this is also what came out in that video, what should come out in that video, that they are watching you, they are watching your lifestyle, they are copying you, they're copying what you are mirroring. Now, this young woman who said, Daddy, you're always shouting, Daddy, you're always angry. A few years later, as at the time she was making those accusations, she only had one sister. But by the time of what I'm about to say now, she had a brother and a sister. And I had to, go on a retreat to pray, just to, be by myself and meditate. But that time, I decided I wasn't traveling out of the home for the retreat. So I went into the guest area. They didn't know I was at home. It was only their mother that knew I didn't travel, that I was still within the compound. So I went to the guest area, but I could hear everything that went on in that place for the 3 days I was on the retreat. The person who said that he always shouting, I would hear things like, hey, go and eat that food now or else. Take that toy away from there now. I'm like, wow. So at the end of the retreat, when I returned home in court, and the evening I returned, we prayed, we're going to have our dinner. We finished dinner, and I'm like, come to think about it. Come to think of it. Uh, I had things like, come and eat this food now. Pick that toy from there now are happening when I was not around. They looked at them and said, well, how did you know that? I said, well, the Holy Spirit told me. We laughed. And I shared with them, okay, yeah, well, eventually I told them I was back already, but I was in the guest area. I had everything to a thing. But you said I was, now you are doing the same thing that, maybe you need to watch it. You are practicing that with your siblings, and that's not nice. Just like you told me it was not nice, and I, you know, told myself to change, to try not to blow up, get angry, or raise. Over time, you know, you have to be conscious. You have to learn to correct, especially when they point things out to you that, oh, this, look at, apologize, and then make efforts to make amends. Okay? They are learning. And as I was saying, okay, but what are you doing now? They were laughing. And of course, now she's a mother. But I watch her fluid communication relationship with her daughters. But then that issue of this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do, I could still see it even in her relationship with her children. Okay? That's another contribution. Is how do I stay calm and model emotional control when I'm running on a 3 hours of sleep and my toddler just poured juice on the carpet? Occupational hazard. Sorry, no, that's just a joke. That's an aside. But yeah, again, occupational hazard. You don't have a choice but to be calm, because who will be the first patient or casualty of your not being calm? It will be you too. Okay. I saw a wonderful video the other day. A mother had just finished night shift. She came home and went to bed. And that was the time the son and the daughter were practicing their musical talents. High octane, high volume guitar and singing. And this woman got up from the bed. Her gait was like, I'm going to go and see what this is about, this nonsense. But when she got to the door, and they didn't even notice she was standing there. When she saw what was going on and looked at the beautiful thing they were doing, the talent they were exhibiting, the son was there on the console, keyboard. The daughter was the microphone and with the headset, both of them headphones. The daughter was singing, and she was like, that anger dissipated. Okay. I'm still waiting for the part 2 of that video, whether she eventually confronted them or went quietly back to her bed. But in this case, you're running on 3 hours sleep. Find a way to keep that sleep and block them out for that time. When you wake up, you can deal with the issue. Well, my toddler just poured juice. It's a toddler, so basic first aid or safety precaution. Don't keep things where toddlers can reach them. Things that could pour, things that could break, things that could cut them, things that could make them tumble and fall. So be you, just like you had the pouring or whatever it is, crash of things, and you had to get up. Okay, if you have toddlers around, make the place safe for yourself and for them, and have a conversation. Never forget that. Have a conversation, have an agreement, have those boundaries set. When mommy is sleeping or this door is closed, or mommy is sleeping or daddy is sleeping, agree on what could happen and what should not happen. Agree. So that when things that you didn't agree get to happen, the consequences for them happening, you would apply them. People would remember. They will not repeat those things again. Don't leave things to chance. Boundaries, we can't say them enough, are very important. They don't say you are mean. They don't say you are rigid. It just helps to manage relationships. Boundaries help to manage relationships. Parent-child, spousal, friends, colleagues. Boundaries help us with managing. What are laws? What are rules in the first place? They are boundaries. If you cross the street on the red traffic light, you get a ticket for, you drive past, you get a ticket. There are boundaries. It don't mean government is wicked. Government is not wicked. Authorities are not wicked. You did the thing, so you take your fine, go to pay it. The same way at home, agree on things. If you now bounce on your children with things that you didn't agree on, you are not being fair. So in this case, number one, don't leave things for your own peace of mind. Don't leave things lying around where toddlers can knock them over and then get you up, and then you begin to do house chores at a time that you're not prepared for them. Okay? Set boundaries. When mommy is sleeping, don't come to knock. If you can come and lie down beside mommy, but don't disturb me. Agree on those things. Okay? I am separated from my husband. My daughter has been seeing him every weekend, but he is extremely irresponsible. How do I make sure she doesn't model his behavior? Do I stop her from saying, what is your definition of irresponsible? First thing, try hard to keep your relationship issues with your husband, former husband, partner, away from your daughter. Your relationship issues with him or her are between both of you. There are things we can't change. That man is still the father of this child, this girl. And that's why the child will make time out to go to see him. That's why the child will make out time to go to see her. Will stress you, I want to see my dad, I want to see my mom. Okay, so what you have tagged irresponsible is between you and him. Okay, you've not said what those behaviors are. We are not going to suggest any for you, but our concern here is the child. The child needs the father and the mother. Both of you have decided to separate, like you said, what is it? I am separated from my husband. Both of you have separated, okay? Try not to get the children also to become separated from their father or from their mother. It doesn't help the balancing of the growth of any child. Okay? Does not help the balancing of the growth of any child. So keep your daughter, mirror what you consider as responsible. Let her see. Okay? But don't block her from going to see her father. Okay? You could take a further step. Don't ask questions about what happens when you go. If she tells you, fine, then you can have that conversation. But don't keep checking to know what happened when she went there or what didn't happen. Okay? And as much as possible, don't use negative terms for your partners. The children are, remember what we said, they're listening, they're learning. That young woman is going to have a partner, a husband, a boyfriend at some point. People carry things over to people that hadn't hurt them, that hadn't done anything to them. And then it's just, fear of maybe this person would also be like that other person. And these things get perpetuated, get carried from one generation to the other. It doesn't end. Try to let yours end with you. Okay? If you like, have a conversation about why you are separated. But Don't make it a war. Okay? For the sake of your children, they are going to have their own relationship. You do not want them to get into what you now find, uncomfortable. Okay? So we'll move on. Can parents model critical thinking and skepticism even when it means questioning authority? We are human beings. What sets us apart from some of the animals is our capacity to think. We think and we get things done from our thinking. And if you're a thinking human being, and we all are thinking human beings, our thinkings can be one way. There will be cynicism, there will be skepticism, there will be optimism. All of us fit into one of those roles. So in your thinking, share why if you have that open relationship, open communication relationship with your children, they actually will get to know your opinion about certain issues even without you telling them, because they'll see you, they hear you. They see you watch the news or read the newspaper either, or read the news online, wherever. They hear you respond to things happening in society. There's nothing wrong with pointing out things that are not happening right, but it's not enough to point out things that are not happening right. You must also be able to say what could be done to make the things that are not right in society right. That way, the critical thinking you are talking about now is rounded. Okay? You are not a critical thinker of everything is bad. How could everything that is bad become good? Okay? Your critical thinker, you should not also be a praise singer because of what you expect from whoever, whatever organization, whatever society. You believe that, well, that's what we have, that's what, no. You should be able to, model a kind of thinking, a kind of, well, you use critical thinking, we keep going back to that still. Model a kind of thinking that help your children to come out with solutions. Critical thinking that doesn't profess solutions is not thinking. Okay? So that's it for our show today. The time went so fast today. It's been a wonderful edition of the Slow Parenting Program on Nostalgia Media. My name is Richie Adewusi. We are here every Wednesday, 2 p.m. at this time, Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada, and then 7 p.m. West African time, including Nigeria. Leave us comments. Please subscribe. Please support us. Support this program. If you find it interesting, tell others about it. Invite them. Share. Let them, also benefit from what you've benefited from. And there are so many videos, over 80 of them we've done over time. You go to our YouTube channel, you find our live streams, you find our videos there. Make your comments, leave your questions. Our contact information is there. We would like to hear from you. Okay? Stay well, keep talking. See you next week. Bye-bye.